Hey everyone, and welcome to another Deep Dive. We're going to be taking a look at Tribe of Mentors by Timothy Ferriss.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah. So have you had a chance to read it?
Not cover to cover, but I've definitely skimmed it and read some of the interviews that resonated most with me.
Well, that's perfect because we're going to be doing a deep dive into it today.
Okay.
So this book features over 100 experts, from entrepreneurs and athletes to artists and investors, all sharing their wisdom.
It's a pretty diverse group for sure. You've got everyone from tech giants like Reid Hoffman to Hollywood stars like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right. So diverse.
Even Olympic athletes like Maria Sharapova.
Yeah, pretty incredible lineup.
And Ferriss asks them a lot of thought-provoking questions. You know, things like, what is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you love?
Yeah, I saw that one. What was your answer to that one?
Oh, well, I'm kind of a private person, but I suppose if I had to choose, I'd say I have a bit of a thing for collecting vintage board games. It's a fun way to disconnect from technology and engage in some good old-fashioned fun with friends and family.
That is pretty fun. I like that. So Ferriss really digs deep in these interviews, huh?
He does. He goes beyond their accomplishments and tries to uncover their mindset, their habits, and their unique perspectives on life.
I think that's one of the most fascinating aspects of the book. It's not just about what these people have achieved. It's about how they think and how they approach challenges. That's the stuff that we can actually learn from and apply to our own lives.
Absolutely. I think it highlights the idea that success leaves clues. And by looking at the lives of these diverse individuals, we can find common threads that might help us in our own journeys.
Okay, so are we ready to jump into some of those common threads?
Let's do it.
Okay, great. Well, one theme that popped up again and again was the importance of investing time in things that you're passionate about, even if the rewards aren't immediate.
Right. Several mentors emphasize this idea of long-term dedication.
I remember that.
Like author Susan Cain. She spent 7 years writing Quiet, her groundbreaking exploration of introversion.
7 years. Wow. That's a long time.
It is. It's a testament to her belief in the importance of the topic and her commitment to crafting a truly impactful piece of work.
It's like planting a seed and nurturing it, even before you see the sprout.
Exactly. It's about trusting the process and knowing that sometimes the most meaningful things take time to develop.
And it wasn't just Cain. Even Ferriss himself spent 7 years building his podcast, The Tim Ferriss Show, into the phenomenon it is today.
These examples remind us that success isn't always about overnight wins.
Right.
It's often about consistency and dedication, even when progress feels invisible.
Which can be tough. It's not always easy to stay motivated when you don't see those immediate results.
It can be really challenging. But I think that's where passion comes in. If you genuinely love what you're doing, it becomes easier to persevere through those difficult stretches and trust that eventually your efforts will bear fruit.
It's like that saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Although, even if you're passionate about your work, there will still be days that feel like work.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think the overall sentiment rings true. When you're aligned with your purpose, it gives you a sense of energy and motivation that helps you overcome those inevitable obstacles.
Okay, so moving on to another important theme. And this one might seem a bit counterintuitive, but many mentors discuss the importance of facing fear and discomfort head on.
Yeah, that's a big one. It can be tempting to avoid those uncomfortable feelings.
For sure.
But these mentors suggest that leaning into discomfort can actually be a catalyst for growth.
It makes you think differently about fear, right?
It does. Dita Von Teese, the world-renowned burlesque performer.
Yes, I love her.
She talked about her experiences with stage fright. Even after achieving global acclaim, she still gets those pre-show jitters.
Really? Wow.
It's like she's saying, even at the highest levels of success, discomfort is still part of the equation.
It's almost like a constant companion on the journey, huh?
In a way, yes. And instead of trying to eliminate it completely, maybe it's about learning to manage it, to reframe it as a sign that we're pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones.
Because if you're not a little bit uncomfortable, you're probably not growing.
Right. Exactly. And it's not just about facing fears on a stage or in a performance setting. It's about embracing discomfort in all areas of life. Those moments when you have to have a difficult conversation?
Yes.
Or take a risk that feels scary?
Yes, the worst.
Those are the moments that can lead to the most significant growth.
So it's about leaning into those moments instead of shying away from them.
Precisely. And I think Amelia Boone, the world champion obstacle course racer, provided a really interesting perspective on this.
What did she say?
She reframed rest as crucial for growth. Not weakness, but a strategy for peak performance.
That's a good point. Especially in today's always-on culture, it's so easy to glorify busyness and neglect rest and recovery.
Yeah, for sure. And Boone emphasizes that rest isn't just about physical recovery, it's about mental and emotional recovery as well.
Oh, okay.
It's about giving ourselves the space to recharge and come back stronger.
So both Dita Von Teese and Amelia Boone are challenging us to rethink our relationship with discomfort.
I think so. What if, instead of avoiding those uneasy feelings, we embrace them as signals of growth and resilience?
It's a powerful shift in perspective.
It is. You know, it reminds me of that quote by the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger."
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about investing time and embracing discomfort. Now let's switch gears to a topic that I think everyone struggles with: work-life balance.
Oh, yeah. That's the eternal struggle.
It is. And the book offers such a diverse range of perspectives on this.
It does. Each mentor seems to have found their own unique approach to balancing the demands of their work with their personal lives.
Yeah, it definitely isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Definitely not. And designer Debbie Millman, she suggests that if you truly see your work as a calling, it won't feel like a chore and can intrinsically provide balance.
So if you love what you do, work doesn't really feel like work.
Well, it's not that simple. There will always be aspects of any job that are less enjoyable than others.
Right.
But I think the point is, if you're aligned with your passion, work becomes an integral part of your life rather than a separate entity that you have to balance against everything else.
Okay, I can see that.
Then we have Tim Urban.
Oh yeah, the creator of the blog.
Yay.
But why?
Exactly. He utilizes what he calls a yin-yang method.
What's that?
Dedicated periods for work and for leisure, ensuring that both receive focus without bleeding into each other.
So it's like creating clear boundaries between work time and personal time.
Exactly. It's about being fully present in whatever you're doing at the moment.
I like that.
Then, investor Graham Duncan,
Yeah.
he emphasizes the importance of having something to look forward to each day, be it work-related or personal. This practice, he argues, combats monotony and maintains drive.
Well, that's a good one. I need to do that more often.
It's a simple but effective strategy. It can be something as small as looking forward to a delicious dinner or a walk in the park after work.
So it seems that finding the right balance is really about identifying what truly energizes you and then creating a system that honors both your professional and personal aspirations.
Yeah, well said. I think that's a great way to sum it up.
Okay, so we've discussed the importance of investing time, embracing discomfort, and finding work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's shift our focus to the influence of others.
Okay.
Because many mentors in the book discuss the impact of guidance and learning from those who have navigated similar paths.
That makes sense. Having mentors can be invaluable, especially when you're trying to navigate a new field or achieve ambitious goals.
Yeah, and it can be especially helpful to have someone who's been there and done that to provide advice and support.
Absolutely. Venture capitalist Peter Thiel,
Boy.
he challenges the traditional 10-year plan. He asks aspiring entrepreneurs, why not accomplish this in 6 months? It's a question designed to inspire action and challenge those assumptions that might be holding people back.
Wow. That's a really thought-provoking approach.
It is. It's about pushing boundaries and not settling for mediocrity.
So it's not about dismissing long-term goals, but rather about questioning whether we're limiting ourselves by adhering to arbitrary timelines.
Exactly. It's about injecting a sense of urgency and challenging ourselves to achieve our goals more efficiently.
I like that.
Then Scott Belsky, co-founder of Behance, advises us to be perceptive, recognizing opportunities that may not come with obvious labels. Sometimes the most valuable chances are disguised as problems or seemingly minor tasks.
So it's about being open to the unexpected and seeing potential where others might see obstacles.
Exactly. Sometimes the path to success isn't linear.
Right.
It's about being adaptable and recognizing that sometimes the most valuable opportunities come from unexpected sources.
It's about being open to those twists and turns and recognizing potential in unexpected places.
Absolutely. It reminds me of the saying, when one door closes, another opens. But we often spend so much time staring at the closed door that we miss the one that's wide open right in front of us.
That's so true.
Yeah.
We get so fixated on what we think should happen that we miss out on the possibilities that are right there.
It's about training our minds to spot potential where others might see obstacles.
Okay, well, I want to shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little more lighthearted.
Okay.
Do you remember that question Ferriss asked about absurd things you love?
Oh, yes, I do. I love how he throws in those unexpected questions. It reveals a different side to these high achievers.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think it makes them more relatable.
Absolutely. It reminds us that they're not just robots programmed for success. They're human beings with their own unique quirks and passions.
Yeah. So I wanted to share some of my favorite responses because I think they're pretty entertaining.
Okay.
Tim Urban, for example, the guy who wrote the blog, Wait.
Yeah.
He keeps a toy box at his desk to help him focus.
Oh, wow. That's pretty endearing.
It is. It reminds us that productivity strategies don't have to be rigid or overly serious.
Right. Sometimes a little bit of playfulness can actually unlock creativity.
And then there's Lewis Cantley, a renowned cancer researcher.
Okay.
And he finds joy in those simple moments with his wife after 42 years of marriage, like just sitting together in silence.
Oh, that's really sweet.
It is. It's a testament to the power of cherishing those everyday connections.
It's a beautiful reminder that success doesn't negate the importance of personal happiness and simple pleasures.
And then Neil Strauss, the author, shared a whole bunch of quirky things he loves.
Really? Like what?
Well, he loves Japanese candy,
Okay.
and he plays a game with his wife where they reenact scenes from movies based on the music they're listening to.
That's a new one.
Yeah, right? These little glimpses into their lives make these high achievers feel more human, don't they?
Definitely. It reminds us that success doesn't erase our individuality. It enhances it.
It's like it gives us permission to embrace our own quirks and passions.
Exactly. We're all a mix of complexities and passions, no matter our achievements.
Well, okay, so we've talked about embracing our quirks and passions, but let's face it, even the most successful individuals experience moments of feeling overwhelmed and distracted.
It's true. Life throws curveballs at all of us.
Right. So the question then becomes, how do we handle those moments? How do we regain focus and clarity when we're feeling pulled in a million different directions?
And the mentors in the book offer some great strategies for dealing with exactly that.
Okay, so tell me more. What are some of the things that they suggest?
Well, for starters, Dita Von Teese, the burlesque performer we talked about earlier, she uses journaling to gain perspective and process her emotions. It's a way for her to clear mental clutter and reconnect with her inner voice.
Yeah, that quiet reflection can be so grounding.
It can. And sometimes that's all it takes to regain a sense of clarity and purpose.
It's about taking the time to sort through our thoughts and emotions so that we can move forward with intention.
Exactly. Then you have Neil Strauss, the author we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He uses meditation to center himself.
That's a popular one these days.
It is! And for good reason. Meditation has been shown to reduce stress, improve focus, and enhance emotional well-being.
It's about creating that space for quiet reflection, for connecting with our inner selves amidst the chaos of daily life.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be a complicated practice. Even just a few minutes of mindful breathing can make a difference.
And then Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, reframed uncertainty as an inherent part of decision-making.
Okay. Instead of agonizing over unknowns, he encourages accepting that uncertainty is just part of the process.
It's about embracing the unknown and not letting fear paralyze us.
Exactly. You know, it's like that quote by the poet Rainer Maria Rilke. He said, "Live the questions now. Perhaps you will gradually, without noticing it, live your way into the answer."
It's about trusting the process and having faith that even when we don't have all the answers, we can still move forward in a positive direction.
Yeah. And so these varied approaches offer tools for navigating a world that's overflowing with information and demands.
They remind us that we have the capacity to cultivate inner resilience and discover methods that work for us individually.
It's about finding what helps us quiet the noise and tap into our own inner wisdom.
Okay, so we've talked about dealing with overwhelm. Now we'll bring up another topic that can be tough to face.
What's that?
Failure.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
But the thing is, failure is an unavoidable part of life.
It is. No one makes it through life without experiencing setbacks and disappointments.
Right. And what I found so inspiring was how these mentors reframed failure as a stepping stone to success.
Absolutely. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it.
Susan Cain, for example, the author of Quiet, she shared that while her time as a corporate lawyer wasn't her ultimate passion, it helped her discover her true calling as a writer and speaker.
So even though it wasn't her dream job, it still played an important role in her journey.
It's a reminder that even those experiences that don't align with our ultimate goals can still shape us in profound ways.
It's about recognizing that there are no wasted experiences. Everything we go through, even the tough stuff, contributes to who we become.
And Steve Aoki, the DJ and music producer we mentioned earlier,
Yes.
he reflected on a period of excessive partying that actually led him to reevaluate his priorities.
Yeah.
And ultimately led to a more balanced and fulfilling life.
It's like those setbacks, those moments when we stumble, can actually be the catalyst for positive change.
It takes courage to acknowledge those mistakes and learn from them.
It does. But when we do, those failures can become valuable data, helping us course correct and make more informed decisions moving forward.
It's about embracing the iterative nature of success. Setbacks aren't endings, they're turning points.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to take a few wrong turns to find the right path.
Okay, so before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm going to talk about one more theme that really resonated with me.
Okay.
Challenging conventional wisdom.
Ah, yes. It's about questioning the status quo and not being afraid to forge your own path.
Exactly. And several mentors in the book offered some really thought-provoking examples of this.
Like what?
Well, for instance, Debbie Millman, the designer, she rejected the need to be a people person.
Interesting. What did she say about that?
She argued that having a strong individual viewpoint and expressing it authentically is far more valuable than trying to please everyone.
So it's about owning your perspective and trusting your intuition.
Right. It's about not being afraid to stand out from the crowd.
And what about Amelia Boone? Did she challenge any conventional wisdom?
She did. She pushed back against the no rest mentality that's so common in athletics.
Oh, wow. I can see how that could be controversial, especially in a field that often glorifies pushing yourself to the limit.
It is. But Boone argues that rest isn't weakness. It's a strategic necessity for achieving peak performance and avoiding burnout.
So it's about recognizing the importance of taking care of ourselves, both physically and mentally.
Exactly. It's about prioritizing our well-being so that we can show up as our best selves.
This all reminds us to question those commonly held beliefs, even within our own fields of expertise.
Right. What if those beliefs are actually holding us back?
It's about becoming a critical thinker, questioning assumptions, and forging your own path to success.
It's about figuring out what truly resonates with us.
Yeah.
Not just accepting what we're told.
It's been quite a journey so far, exploring all these diverse perspectives.
It has. And we've only just scratched the surface.
There are so many more gems of wisdom to uncover in Tribe of Mentors.
Stay tuned, because in part 2, we'll be sharing some specific advice and strategies that you can start applying to your own life today.
Can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into Tribe of Mentors.
It's been a fascinating journey so far, hasn't it?
It really has. We've explored so many inspiring stories and thought-provoking perspectives.
And now it's time to translate those ideas into action.
Exactly. Let's talk about how we can actually apply this wisdom to our own lives.
Okay, so where should we start?
Well, one piece of advice that really stuck with me came from Jerzy Gregorek. Who's that? He's a world champion weightlifter and author, and he advocates for establishing what he calls a comfortable minimum.
Interesting. What's a comfortable minimum?
It's a baseline for well-being that includes practices like exercise, nutrition, and getting enough sleep.
Oh, okay. So it's like the foundation for a healthy and productive life.
Exactly. By prioritizing those basic elements of physical and mental health, we create a solid base from which to build.
It's like taking care of the essentials before you can even think about achieving those big goals.
Precisely. Once you've got that solid foundation in place, then you can start thinking about optimizing your performance and pursuing those more ambitious objectives.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we go about actually implementing this comfortable minimum?
Well, it's different for everyone.
Right.
But it starts with identifying what those essential practices are for you.
Like for me, it's definitely getting enough sleep.
Yeah, that's a big one for me too.
If I don't get enough sleep, I'm pretty much useless.
I hear you. And for others, it might be about making sure they eat nutritious meals or getting regular exercise.
It's about figuring out what your body and mind need to function at their best.
Exactly. And then making those practices a priority in your daily life.
And that's not always easy.
It's not. It takes discipline and commitment.
But I think it's worth it. Because when you feel good physically and mentally, you're so much more capable of achieving your goals.
Absolutely. And speaking of goals, I wanted to bring up Peter Thiel's advice again about challenging those traditional 10-year plans.
Yeah, I remember that.
That really struck a chord with me.
That too.
It's such a powerful reminder that we don't have to wait years to achieve our dreams.
And he encourages people to ask themselves, why can't I achieve this in 6 months?
It's about breaking down those seemingly insurmountable goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
So it's not about rushing the process, but rather about challenging ourselves to be more efficient and action-oriented.
Exactly. And I think it pairs nicely with Scott Belsky's advice about recognizing those hidden opportunities.
The ones that come disguised as challenges or seemingly minor tasks.
Yeah, exactly. By merging Thiel's urgency with Belsky's openness to possibilities, we create a framework for identifying and seizing those moments that can really propel us forward.
It's like we're training our minds to see potential where others might see obstacles.
Precisely. And it's not always about those big, flashy opportunities either.
Right.
Sometimes it's about recognizing the value in those seemingly small or mundane tasks.
It's like that saying, don't despise small beginnings.
Exactly. You never know where those small beginnings might lead.
Okay, so we've talked about prioritizing our well-being, challenging our timelines, and being open to unexpected opportunities. But all of that can feel overwhelming if we're constantly feeling distracted and pulled in a million different directions.
That's true. Managing our energy and attention is crucial for success in any area of life.
And this is where I think those unique habits that we discussed earlier can really come into play.
Oh, yeah, those were fun.
Like Tim Urban's toy box.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It reminds us that productivity strategies don't have to be boring or rigid.
Right. Sometimes a little bit of playfulness can actually help us focus.
And it's about finding what works for you. What works for Tim Urban might not work for you.
Exactly. It's about experimenting and discovering those tools and strategies that help you get into the flow.
It's about understanding your individual quirks and leveraging them to your advantage.
And sometimes the most effective productivity hacks are those that are personalized and unexpected.
So don't be afraid to think outside the box.
Absolutely. If keeping a toy box at your desk helps you focus, go for it.
Okay, so we've talked about external tools, but I think it's also important to cultivate those internal tools as well.
Yeah, like what?
Like Dita Von Teese's journaling practice.
Oh, yes. That's a great example.
It's about taking that time for introspection, for processing our emotions and gaining clarity.
It's about creating space for our inner voice to emerge.
And sometimes that's all we need to regain a sense of calm and focus.
And if finding that inner stillness feels challenging, Neil Strauss recommends exploring meditation.
Yeah, I've heard that meditation can be really helpful for managing stress and improving focus.
It can. And it doesn't have to be a huge time commitment.
Yeah, you don't have to go live in a monastery or anything.
Exactly. Even just a few minutes a day can make a difference.
It's about creating that space for quiet reflection.
Yeah. And connecting with our inner selves amidst the chaos of daily life.
Okay, so we've talked about journaling, meditation, but I think it's also important to acknowledge that sometimes uncertainty is just part of the equation.
That's true. We can't always control everything.
And Vitalik Buterin, the co-founder of Ethereum, talks about this.
What does he say?
He says that instead of agonizing over those unknowns, we should accept that uncertainty is just an inherent part of decision-making.
It's about embracing the unknown and not letting fear paralyze us.
It's about trusting that even when we don't have all the answers, we can still make good decisions and move forward in a positive direction.
It's like taking a leap of faith.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to trust your gut and go for it.
So the key takeaway here is that managing our mental and emotional states is a personal journey.
Absolutely. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
It's about experimenting and discovering what works for you.
And what works for one person might not work for another.
That's okay. We all have different needs and preferences.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. From establishing a comfortable minimum to managing our energy and embracing uncertainty.
And all of this leads us to a topic that can be tough to talk about, but it's so important.
What's that?
Failure.
Ah, yes. Failure. It's an unavoidable part of life.
It is. We all experience setbacks and disappointments at some point.
But the question is, how do we respond to those failures?
And these mentors, they offer some really insightful perspectives on this.
They did. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it.
And it's about recognizing that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process.
Susan Cain, for instance, she talked about her time as a corporate lawyer.
Yeah, she didn't end up staying in that field.
But she didn't see it as a waste of time.
Right. She credits it with helping her discover her true calling as a writer and speaker.
It's like those experiences, even the ones that don't align with our ultimate goals, can still shape us in profound ways.
It's about recognizing that there are no wasted experiences. Everything we go through contributes to who we become.
And Steve Aoki, he shared a similar perspective.
He did. He talked about a period of his life where he was partying a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't the healthiest time for him.
But he was able to reevaluate his priorities and make positive changes.
It's like those setbacks, those moments when we stumble, can actually be the catalyst for growth.
It's about having the courage to acknowledge our mistakes and learn from them,
And those failures, they become valuable data.
helping us make better decisions in the future.
Exactly. So it's not about beating ourselves up when we fail.
Right.
It's about embracing those moments as opportunities for learning and growth.
It's about that iterative process of trying, failing, learning, and trying again.
You know, it reminds me of that quote by Thomas Edison.
Oh, yeah.
He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work."
He had a great attitude about failure, didn't he?
He did. And I think we can all learn from that. Failure is not the end. It's just a detour.
Okay, so we've talked about reframing failure as a learning opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's delve into the idea of questioning conventional wisdom.
Yeah, that's a powerful concept. It's about challenging those long-held beliefs, even within our own fields of expertise.
And several mentors in the book offered some great examples of this.
Like what?
Well, Debbie Millman, she rejected the idea that you have to be a people person to be successful.
Interesting. What was her reasoning?
She argued that having a strong individual viewpoint and expressing it authentically is more valuable than trying to please everyone.
So it's about owning your perspective and trusting your intuition.
Exactly. It's about being true to yourself and not conforming to those societal expectations.
And did anyone else challenge any conventional wisdom?
Amelia Boone did. She pushed back against the no-rest mentality that's so prevalent in athletics.
I remember that. That's a bold statement, especially in a field that often glorifies pushing yourself to the limit.
It is, but she makes a compelling argument.
What does she say?
She says that rest is not a sign of weakness, it's a strategic necessity for achieving peak performance and avoiding burnout.
So it's about recognizing that taking care of ourselves is essential for long-term success.
And it's about challenging those deeply ingrained beliefs that might actually be holding us back.
It's about questioning the status quo and not being afraid to forge our own path.
You know, all of this reminds me of a concept that wasn't explicitly mentioned in the book.
What's that?
It's called beginner's mind.
I like the sound of that. Tell me more.
It's a Zen Buddhist concept that encourages approaching experiences with a sense of curiosity and openness, just like a beginner would.
So it's about letting go of our preconceived notions and allowing ourselves to be surprised by what we discover.
Exactly. Even if we consider ourselves experts in our field, we can benefit from cultivating this fresh perspective.
Because sometimes our expertise can actually become a barrier to learning.
It's like we get so stuck in our ways of thinking that we miss out on new possibilities.
So beginner's mind helps us to avoid complacency and stay curious.
And it allows us to see things with new eyes, notice details we might have overlooked, and be open to unconventional solutions.
It's about fostering that spirit of continuous learning and growth.
So even as we gain experience and expertise, it's important to retain that sense of wonder and openness.
Absolutely. And I think beginner's mind is especially important in today's rapidly changing world.
We're constantly being bombarded with new information and challenges.
Yeah. By cultivating beginner's mind, we become more adaptable and resilient.
And we're better equipped to navigate those unexpected twists and turns that life throws our way.
I love that. It's like we're always students, always learning and growing.
Exactly. And I think that's a beautiful way to approach life.
It is. And, you know, this idea of beginner's mind, it seems like a natural bridge to the next part of our exploration.
What do you mean?
Well, we've been talking a lot about individual growth and achievement.
Right.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge the role that relationships and community play in our lives.
And that's something that comes up a lot in Tribe of Mentors, isn't it?
It does. And I think it's a crucial reminder that we're not meant to go through this journey alone.
We all need those connections, that support system to help us thrive.
So stay tuned for part 3, where we'll delve into the mentor's insights on building strong relationships, fostering collaboration, and leveraging the power of collective wisdom.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Tribe of Mentors.
It's been quite a journey exploring all these different perspectives on success.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we?
We have. From embracing discomfort to challenging conventional wisdom, it's been a whirlwind of insights.
And now I think it's time to shift our focus to something that's absolutely fundamental to human thriving. Relationships.
Ah, yes, the power of connection.
Exactly. And this theme came up time and time again in Tribe of Mentors.
It did. It seems no matter what field you're in, strong relationships are essential for both personal and professional fulfillment.
I was struck by how many mentors emphasize the profound impact of those connections.
It's easy to get caught up in the pursuit of individual goals and achievements.
Oh, Absolutely.
But we can't forget the importance of nurturing those bonds that bring joy and support to our lives.
It's like that saying, no man is an island.
Exactly. We're all interconnected, and those connections shape who we are and what we're capable of achieving.
Maria Popova, the brilliant mind behind Brain Pickings, had a beautiful quote about this.
Oh, I love her work. What does she say?
She said that the individuals you choose to surround yourself with shape your world.
It's so true. The people we spend our time with have an incredible influence on our thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
It makes you really think about the company you keep, doesn't it?
It does. Are the people in your life lifting you up or holding you back?
Are they encouraging you to grow and pursue your dreams?
Those are important questions to ask ourselves. And it's not just about the quantity of relationships either.
Right.
It's about the quality.
Many of the mentors stress the importance of seeking out those individuals who challenge and inspire us.
The ones who push us to be our best selves. Peter Thiel, for example, talked about the value of finding mentors who offer fresh perspectives.
The kind of people who make you question your assumptions and see things in a new light.
Precisely. He believes that the right mentors can accelerate our learning and help us navigate the path to success more effectively.
I think we've all had those experiences where someone's guidance has made a world of difference.
Absolutely. Whether it's a teacher, a coach, or a colleague, those individuals can have such a profound impact on our lives.
And then there's that beautiful story from Lewis Cantley.
The cancer researcher.
Yes. Remember how we talked about finding so much joy in those simple, quiet moments with his wife after decades of marriage?
I do. It was such a sweet testament to the enduring power of deep, meaningful connections.
It really highlights the importance of nurturing those relationships that provide a sense of belonging and unconditional love.
It's those connections that ground us and provide a sense of stability amidst all of life's ups and downs.
Okay, so we've talked about individual relationships, but I think it's also important to touch on the power of community.
Oh, absolutely. Finding your tribe, as they say.
Exactly. Connecting with those like-minded individuals who share your passions and values.
Steve Aoki, the DJ and music producer, had a great example of this.
Oh yeah, what was it?
He talked about the incredible community that formed around his Dim Mak record label.
It became more than just a business, didn't it?
It did. It evolved into this vibrant collective of artists supporting each other's creative endeavors and pushing the boundaries of electronic music together.
It's a powerful reminder of what can happen when people come together with a shared purpose.
It creates a synergy that can fuel innovation and accelerate growth. So for our listeners out there, what are some practical ways they can cultivate stronger relationships and find their tribe?
Well, first and foremost, it's about being intentional.
Okay.
Taking a close look at the people you surround yourself with and asking yourself those tough questions we talked about earlier.
Are these relationships serving me? Are they helping me become the best version of myself?
Exactly. And beyond our existing circles, we can actively seek out communities that align with our interests and values.
There are so many options these days.
Joining local groups, attending events, engaging in online forums, the possibilities are endless. The key is to be proactive.
To put yourself out there and make an effort to connect with others.
Because you never know where those connections might lead. Sometimes the most rewarding relationships come from the most unexpected places.
It's a beautiful reminder that we're not meant to navigate this journey alone.
We all need a supportive network to cheer us on, offer a shoulder to cry on, and inspire us to reach our full potential.
As we wrap up this deep dive into Tribe of Mentors, I'm filled with a sense of gratitude for the wisdom these individuals have shared.
Me too. It's been an incredible journey.
And I hope our listeners have found it valuable as well.
I think we've all gained some valuable insights that we can apply to our own lives.
Absolutely. And to help solidify those takeaways, I think it would be helpful to offer a concise summary of the key themes we've explored.
That's a great idea. Let's distill it down to the essentials. Okay, here are 10 key principles inspired by the wisdom of Tribe of Mentors.
I'm ready.
Number 1, invest your time in things that you're truly passionate about, even if the payoff isn't immediate.
Number 2, embrace discomfort as an essential part of growth. It's a sign that you're pushing your boundaries and expanding your horizons.
Number 3, discover your personal approach to work-life balance. It's not about finding a perfect formula, but rather about creating a system that honors both your professional and personal aspirations.
Number 4, seek out mentors who challenge you, inspire you, and provide you with valuable guidance. Their wisdom and experience can accelerate your journey.
Number 5, embrace your unique quirks and passions. They're what make you special and contribute to your success.
Number 6, Develop strategies for managing overwhelm and reclaiming your focus.
Number 7, reframe failure as a valuable learning opportunity. It's not the opposite of success, it's part of the journey.
Number 8, question commonly held beliefs, even in your own field of expertise.
Number 9, nurture meaningful relationships, both personally and professionally. Those connections are essential for happiness and fulfillment.
And finally, number 10, embrace the spirit of beginner's mind. Approach life with curiosity, openness, and a willingness to learn.
What a fantastic way to summarize all that we've learned. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And remember, success leaves clues.
By learning from those who have walked the path before us, we can navigate our own journeys with greater clarity, purpose, and confidence.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep striving to become the best version of yourself.